All right, so we got a nice doe. I actually placed a really nice shot on her, which we got on film. But we will go down, we'll show you our little processing station that we have here at the house. And then we'll get her field dressed and deboned, and we'll kind of walk you through our entire process that we do each night we get a deer. So let's do a little recap on some of the stuff we've used this year. So we started off with the Alpha X30. I couldn't say better things about a shorter axle to axle bow. So you got 30 inches axle to axle. This thing is humming at 315 with the arrow that we're using on a stand platform, 18, 20 feet up. It's rock solid. Both of these shots that I placed on the first two does this year have just been perfection. The first doe, quartering away from me really hard, I kind of shot it through the back of the rib cage, full pass through the front of the chest with that beast broadhead. Okay, folded it back up, put it back into my bow. 2 days later, got a coyote, full pass through the skull, beast broadhead, folded it back up. That one's right here. This is the first one that we shot. I just never got around to cleaning it off, but this arrow is perfectly usable. All right, so then today I said, you know what, let's go with something else again. We're gonna try to test as much stuff as we can. This time I went with this Helix. Man, I'll tell you what, this is probably my favorite fixed blade broadhead to date. And I absolutely love these. This is the first deer I got with this, full pass through, right through a high center section. I think she went about 60, 70 yards. And I'll tell you what, usually I don't shoot deer or does in October. Once we hit about midway October, I kind of really hone in on some bucks. This one came in early enough. I was in my stand for maybe 45 minutes. It was right around 4 o'clock, and she kind of came out of nowhere. I also got to watch her for a little bit beforehand. I kind of really checked the woods, made sure there was nothing right on her tail. So when she gave me the opportunity, placed a real nice shot on her. She was close enough where I knew I was going to get kind of a well-placed shot where there wasn't going to be a ton of commotion afterwards. And sure enough, she ran a couple feet, dropped. But it was early enough that I kept sitting. I didn't see anything else tonight. But that's why I kind of made that decision right now in October to take that doe. Also, I have to process about every 2 weeks if I'm going to stay on track for my 8 deer a season. So if I get the opportunity and I feel like it's the right time, I'll take it. But I passed this doe up 2 times. One, there was a bachelor buck right on her tail, bachelor group right on her tail. And then the other one, it was just right at dusk, and I thought there might be something out there that I hadn't seen that I didn't want to spook. So again, I kind of play each scenario to itself. But let's go down there. I'll show you the whole setup. We'll get everything prepped and ready. We'll skin her, debone her, quarter up, debone her, and then we'll kind of show you some little tricks along the way. I don't know what it was, but something got into her, so I did not do this. They kind of ate her milk sack, and but they didn't get into any of the meat. So, a couple times, coyotes get into them a little bit too much for me to go ahead and process them. That's just me. But this one looks like it's fine. I don't love that, but I did shoot her so early that she stayed, on the ground for a while. So what I like to do, if this wasn't already open, I just grab this fur here, pull it away, and you kind of make that side angle cut. And then once it starts, then you can kind of get in here and run your knife. Again, if you hit those intestines, some of that shit can start going everywhere. We're going to try to keep the intestines completely intact, and we're not going to get into the meat, but we're going to cut it back just a little bit on each side. Now, once this opens up all the way, most of these organs are just going to fall straight out. I have a bucket down here. It'll catch most of that stuff. Okay, and then once you get it opened up pretty good, the pressure of it is going to start forcing some of it out. I always try to stay away from the intestines. I try to stay away from the urinal sac, and then once they're out hanging, then I can feel a little bit better cutting on the inside. But then you also have colon back here that goes up to the ass. Some people will cut that out, they'll tie it off. I don't. I'll get all this out just right here through the front, and then I will tie it off from the inside and make my incision. But the liver to me is like gold. That's probably one of my personal favorite parts, so it doesn't look like I hit the heart. So I probably just double lunged her because she do, you know, you hit a heart, you get 20, 30 yards out of them. You double lung, you get 50, 60 yards. So now that it's all out, get that bucket up underneath her, cut that last little bit. Everything all intact, right in the bucket. I'm gonna rinse my knife off, a little dirty, a little hairy. All right, so now that everything's out, I'm gonna go ahead and start making my incisions, and I'm just gonna go right up the inside of the thighs, right down the inside of the other leg. So we're just gonna go straight up, all the way up to where we don't think there's any more meat that we're gonna want. And that's when we'll make our incisions around the back. And I tell you what, there's nothing better when you start doing this than a good knife. It'll just, if you're gonna do this a lot, it's gonna make your life a lot easier. Once you're up to right above that gland, I'm gonna start just working my way around. You know, you're not gonna wanna trim the whole way down. So what I like to do is you can grab up underneath where it's not as slick, take your forearm, and that'll work it down. And I can do that all the way about down to that bottom shoulder. You know, some people that let their deer hang, or they can take their time. I got to get this done. There's one part right here at the top of the hip. It's kind of best just to cut through it. Same with right past the tail. And then the rest will just come down. And once I get it all the way skinned, I have like a little, you know, process in which I'll do. Tenderloins, back straps, including the neck. When I do the back straps, I try to take those back straps all the way down, get some of that neck meat, and then I'll go back, you know, do those front shoulders and then hind. Well, I'll try to get as much meat as I can. If I was to guess, I'd probably go 36 pounds off this. We'll probably grind maybe 28. But we'll see. You know, this is a good size. This is like a perfect doe for me. This is the best part of hunting to me. You know, so once I get up here, I'm not going to do it like I would a buck caping. I'll go straight down that chest cavity, and then I'll go over to the legs. Stick there, and then most of it though, you can just rip it down. So once I get it here, I would like to get it all the way down almost to the head. Again, I'll wash my knife, start cutting that meat, and start putting it into certain tubs, but we can go ahead and start. So any of the meat that I think is good, you know, for that grinding, I'll throw in here. There's always a little bit of that tallow that'll get on there. And the tallow can be used for lots of different things. You got an exit wound, real nice clean entry wound with that Helix. We'll go down here, take the shoulders off, but I'll go to the back first. Take these back straps off, and I'll run that down. And I'll run it almost all the way down, like I mentioned earlier, to the neck. Then I'm gonna go right up under the ass, make that other incision, and then you can kind of just fillet right along those rib bones, and you can hear it. You know, kind of just goes right down. All right. You just kind of run your knife there, but they'll just pull out as well. You can just kind of keep going right down. They'll get stuck occasionally. Just kind of keep going, and they'll just come right out. Same thing. Come on to the other side. We'll go right down, make our incision at the top. And again, we're just kind of pulling and cutting and pulling and cutting. Okay, get all that silver skin off there as much as we can. All right, so a lot of the good pieces are gone. Now I'll go back through, clean it up. And again, for the ground, I'll take any meat I can. I'll just take my time and kind of work my way through it. You just go in right under that joint, and then you can run right along here. We'll get the front side off first. And again, I'm gonna put all of this into my ground, and we're gonna get summer sausage, sticks, anything made. A lot of the deer meat goes towards just what I can eat in the truck at work. But you can kind of just work a lot of these off just right here. So here's a gland too. You're going to want to get out of there. But I'll kind of work right in between all of that silver skin and just get as much meat off as I can. You know, these does this time of year, there's lots and lots of good meat. So I can't remember what I guessed. You take the back straps out, you're looking at maybe 29, 28 pounds of ground. So I was right on the money. That size doe is pretty consistent, but this is the second one. So our freezers are starting to fill up. The next deer I get, I'm on a buck. These next 4 days here in Missouri are going to be awesome. Kind of, if you follow that moon phase, the temperature just dropped. This part of October to me is like my favorite time of the year. I wait all year for this. The first cold front in October, I would take over, red November any day. So we're on a buck. Next buck, I promise you, we're going to drop is going to be a buck. Right now, though, 2 does I'm happy with. Good start to the season. And 1 gnarly coyote. Also, let's go back to the Pnuma gear. So we're going to rock Pnuma all year. I love that we went from Sitka to Pnuma because they're very, very comparable, but this is half the price. Okay, so if you're looking for some great quality stuff, really cool camo patterns, kind of bow hunter orientated kind of mindset of development, this stuff is great. So we went with the Renegade hoodie and the Renegade pants, which I'm still wearing for the first month of the season. It's been pretty hot. I've hunted in 82, 83, 84, I think even up to like 87. I've been in the woods and through a couple rainy spurts. So I love the Renegade stuff for that early season. It's really lightweight. It dries out really fast in case you do get wet, sweat, rain. And then also what I did find, and this is kind of goes right along with their kind of scent technology that's built into their gear. I leave it outside and I've only been washing it maybe every 4 to 5 hunts. And early season, that's not that frequent because you sweat so much more. You start to stink it up a little bit quicker. And usually I'm washing it maybe every 2 to 3 hunts. Where with this stuff, and I just give it a sniff before I put it on. And I kind of smell it and just assess whether something needs to be washed or not. But I'll wear it. I'll take it off here. I'll hang it up outside. It stays outside. But I love that. I also, just today, with the temperature dropping maybe 15 degrees, I switched from the Renegade hoodie to this Gunnison merino wool hoodie. I'll tell you, for just gear in general, this is probably one of my favorite pieces of clothing, hunting clothing that I've ever had. Okay, it is very tapered. With the merino wool stuff, I always go up a size. So I'm an XL. I got the double XL. It fits almost perfectly. Okay, it's real tapered along the arms. I absolutely love, the thumb pockets. Some rub you real funny. These ones fit so perfect. It also has a really nice big frontal pocket, another chest pocket that zips up, and then it's a quarter zip itself. But I also love that the hoodie is extremely tapered as well. Okay, so this right here, I'll probably wear for the next 3-4 weeks just by itself. If I do want to add another layer, I got some Cabela's liners I can throw under this thing, even with the pants, and then I'll switch over to that mid-season gear that we got from Pnuma. But this right here, it's something that like I would wear this anytime. Anytime, not just hunting. This thing is so comfortable. Absolutely love this. Okay, so Pnuma. Also, if you have not yet, go to the Pnuma website, type in Backyard Bows 20 when you check out, and you'll get 20% off any of their gear. Really cool stuff. They just came out with an entire new line, Kaza, for kind of that whitetail hunting, little bit darker, kind of earthy colors to kind of go into that later season. Really cool stuff. So the Hoyt Alpha X, as much as I hate to do it, because we want to test so many bows, we're going to get that RVX, that Prime RVX 34 set up. We're going to switch over to those Easton full metal jackets, the new ones for this year. The broadheads, I don't know exactly what I'm going to run yet. I'll probably run some of those Mega Meats by G5, kind of go with that Prime. And then we'll kind of get that next bow into the field, as much as I don't want to put this one down because I absolutely love it. I think my most impressive shot which I just couldn't get on film. He was moving too quick for me, was that coyote head shot. I mean, that impressed me, just being able to set up that quick. If you know coyotes, one thing that they usually don't stop moving is their head. You give them a little kiss, they'll pause, but only for a moment. So for me to set up that quickly and land that shot, that was impressive. Again, little platform 20 feet up in the air. That stand was real high too. So that was a real downward angle shot. It was just impressive how quickly this thing set up and how stable it is. The Hoyts to me are some of the most stable bows at full draw. So we'll move on. We'll go to Prime. We'll go back to Easton Full Metal Jackets, try out those new ones. We'll get some new broadheads worked in here, and we'll start switching up that gear.